Hey everybody, I'm Jason Moore from MakingStarWars.net. Trying not to talk too loud tonight because it's late, but I just finished the episode, and these wascally wabbits did too, I guess. And yeah, so let's go down the line, and the chat could let us know too. So starting with Rob, did you like the episode?
I enjoy the execution of the episode. There's parts where I laughed out loud, and there's stuff that I thought we'd see in the very first episode that we finally got. I still don't get the plot logic, of some of this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. There's big questions, but other than that, man, Dean Kundi, it looks beautiful. Jessica Biel stole my fucking heart. Jesus, that
Yeah,
woman, woman's amazing, and overall, it was just it was as good as any other episode of Mando. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Outside of like the spectacular ones, but yeah, I
uh,
enjoyed it.
yeah. How about you, Max?
I fucking loved it. I
Yeah,
did. Yeah, I really did. Mhm.
James. Okay, sorry, I
no,
didn't know if you were done.
no,
Okay.
no, go ahead. We'll talk more about it. But
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
I loved
yeah.
it.
I got all the screenshots and stuff, and I just sent it to you, Mister Thrawn Talk. So we'll throw you up on here too. Yeah. So, anyways, James.
Here we go. It wasn't a bad episode, but at this point, it's kind of like, if this was a football game, you're down 21-0 in the third quarter, and you don't
Hmm.
have time to screw around. You don't get the benefit of the doubt.
Hmm.
And there's just too much stuff that it's like now I feel like I have earned the right to nitpick the shit out of this thing
Hmm.
from the past three episodes. So uh, and I'll give them a huge pass in that it's very difficult to make these things. You got very strict timelines to do all this stuff in. This looks like a first draft of the episode because just as a screenwriter, you got to be very efficient with your time. And there's things that it's like if someone had taken another pass at this thing, it probably would have been something fairly decent, at least for this episode. But just after what we've already gotten now, they need to do more to impress me.
Yeah. So I generally feel like I've been overly positive about the show. And this is maybe the first one where I had the very high highs and very low lows, where I was literally just fucking bored, and
Really?
then
Yeah.
yeah, where I was just straight up bored, and visually, there was not a lot to, and maybe it's because I watched it too much, but and maybe it's me. But as I was going through it, I was like, oh man, I've seen so many of these visuals already, and I'm getting the same visual stuff recycled. As I'm getting to this episode, I'm like, oh, this shit is not efficiently told. Like that's what I'm feeling right now.
Uh,
I'm feeling like it's
yeah,
just not efficiently told story. We go back to the same places a lot. A lot of the same ideas could have been succinctly done in a lot shorter time, and we're not really growing and getting a deeper experience by elongating the episodes, by it lasting longer. I'm not really getting more out of it, and so it's like,
I
there's stuff I loved in it, like a lot of stuff I actually loved in it. And then once we go through the general shots, we'll like break apart. But also there's stuff where I'm like, yep, knew this, didn't need to know, could have been told this. This kind of what I felt. And maybe I'm tired, and maybe I'll feel
no,
differently my second watch. But I was a little yeah, I felt a little bit like redundant.
Mm.
the opening shot, like with the Bacta to him to the Bantha. I for a minute I'm like, am I on the last episode? Like, do we not see this exact order? Like it'd be one thing if like he was walking and it was dusk, but I'm like, I felt like, did we just see this? Like, I thought he was leaving the Tuscan village again, like for like a 2 seconds. Like when he pulled back and you're like, no, it isn't. But that's three minutes with the way how long they take to get to
Yeah.
that. So it's like I don't know, man. Like that's the whole thing with this. Like you just feel like all these ideas were on a board, and maybe like a story group would have been better, to like pin these scenes and put them all here in one, trim out these scenes and put all this shit later. Cause it just feels like, again, like with the episodes of Bad Batch that I've seen, or stuff from the cartoon, like, when they reiterate things that they just covered in the last episode or the episode before that, and you're like, oh, we're doing that again, huh? Like, I was told, well, Rob, that's animation. That's what they do for animation. I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe at Lucasfilm, but I watch a lot of cartoons, man. I don't see this. And here they're doing it in live action. So, okay.
Yeah, and that's what I said. Like this literally reads like a first draft. You nailed it, Jason. You're totally on point because the thing that you notice when you go through your first draft usually is like, okay, where did I need to not put this scene, or where did I, where am I being redundant in information? Like the whole thing with Blacker standing in the club.
Yeah,
Completely unnecessary.
Could have been done in front of Jabba's palace from the very start.
Right. You totally cut out that whole entire scene. And you're right. And then you have a whole nother, if you got an extra 8 minutes to do whatever the hell you want with, where you could actually do something purposeful and new and not, because it's not like you're introducing the character. You're literally just setting up something that's already been set up for a second time. And then going back to the trope of Wookiees tearing the arm, and it's like, okay, here we go again. It's,
but they're gonna tear the arms off a living creature with no blood, so that's an interesting way to go about it. It'd be one thing if it was in the middle of the night and maybe they threw black splatters somewhere so you didn't see the red, but they're in a really brightly lit room. No one has any, Beals doesn't have any like splatter on her. No one has any.
That's
notions. I don't know. I'm just
that's always been kind of like a pet peeve of mine with the Wookiee thing. Even down to the cutscene from The Force Awakens. When a UFC fighter gets his arm pulled out of his socket, it doesn't rip off. That's not what that means. And they've taken it straight downtown to Looney Town, like, and they've consistently done it though. It's not like that's actually like this is the first offense of that. But that's where they're taking it. I mean, it is funny when he does it, but. Yeah.
But like what I said, when I said I enjoy what we got, I mean, I can't control. I've given you a million story things they could do. You're seeing some of them in this episode, like the beak thing. But then I go, the plot logic is weird because it's like, why would you get your so you you didn't kill that thing? Well, I mean, we'll get to it, but it's just like the thought process behind this is just so weird. But the cinematography was quite good on this episode.
I had fun a lot. I really had fun on this. Oh, this one.
There's a lot of fun to be had. I agree with that.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It's better than last episode.
Yeah.
But,
Hey Jesse, how you doing, man?
Hey,
What's
Jesse.
up, people?
Hey Jesse, did you like it? Jesse Dameron?
So far, it's the worst episode.
Are you serious?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. You're out your mind.
Wow.
The
I'm
worst.
gonna lay it out there.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I actually I
agree
actually
with you. It's the worst.
I actually that's actually where I'm coming from on this one. Like I said, I don't hate it. I'm not like angry at it or anything. I just I mean, like, honestly, I felt like they showed me Jabba's palace and it looked bad. It looked boring. I mean, Jabba's palace always had all this intrigue to it, shadowy and murky and dark, and it looked like Battlefront. And I played Battlefront, and I already saw it in Battlefront.
That's what I was going to say.
Nothing
it looked like they
it.
made a film version of Battlefront 2. I mean, even so far as the little floating probe droid. But remember, you had to play that droid part 2 when you're Iden Versio or whatever. And you had to go through the air ducts and stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool the way they used it, but like a lot of that premise stuff is just it didn't need to be rehashed to me, honestly.
And I love how she conveniently forgot she had that probe droid when they searched the Sarlacc for the armor. It's like that would be a perfect time to use that fucking thing.
Oh, and then
they had it?
For sure. When they show her getting her new guts, right? And like, I'm just waiting for them to hand her the little bottle of oil that you would get when you get a new set of clippers.
Yeah.
So keep herself nice and lubed up there. It was kind of
It's a shame it wasn't Fixer who fixed her. I just thought
Yeah.
that's just a
It
pun.
was-
It's a pun that you could use. So it's just
He
sitting
owed
there.
them. Vixer owed them one, and but yeah, we will get to that. Let's start off with this. I am bored of this. I don't ever want to fucking see this again in my whole entire life right
I
now.
think this is the last time that we're ever going to see this.
Yeah, I was relieved because I when I saw this right here, I was like, okay, here we go.
So now he's not extra crispy. He's the skinless breast.
He's got eyebrows. He's got
Is what it does. You are now healed.
yeah, he's got some beautiful eyebrows. I mean, and I was just like, okay, when they say when the robots finally like lets us know, don't worry, you never have to do this again. I was like, thank God.
That was don't worry, we're never going to see a flashback ever.
Yeah.
again.
I love this shot for what it's worth. I mean,
It was really good.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
waiting for the whole bird.
You know, it's weird because they never really explain like what his injuries were. I mean, they just kind of gloss it over as like he's injured and he has to be in this back
I
tank.
guess just something
But
from the
then-
acid is basically what it is, right? The acid.
No, he's
But
part of
then-
the digest. I'm sure.
But then
yeah,
the-
Fennec says it.
the thing they really need to explain, they actually finally get into in this episode where she's
Kinda.
like, why do you want to be a crime boss? And he's like, why not? And I was like, oh my God, that's the explanation you're giving this whole premise of this fucking show is one word. Why not?
Well,
Or 2 words?
He,
Shrug of
no,
the
that's
shoulders.
not entirely true, James. He said,
No, they
I don't
did go-
want people telling us what to do while we're pawns. And
We're
that was
smarter.
the point I was trying to make in the very first episode when if he had seen his own a clone of himself, right?
Yeah.
It just had just been digesting for God knows how fucking long, and he realizes he's just a pawn in a game. That's the whole point. And they could say, well, it's there. I'm like, yeah, but it's not. It should be stated pretty
Right.
clearly, like in words.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the
Like-
first scene where they address, and they did address it more later, but the first scene, she's like, well, why do you want to be a crime boss? He's like, well, why not? I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they just did that. Like, you need to elaborate a little bit more, sir.
Yeah. I mean, like most of the early stuff, I kind of over screenshotted it honestly because so much of it didn't matter. The episode regularly pulls what I call to be the biggest visual offense is when you have the characters in masks and you can't see their eyes. Like I always say, if you can't see their eyes, they're not alive, and they just look like it's fucking Party City. At the end of the day, it's what it is. It's Party City, and I actually put the little party hats on those people in the featured image of this almost as a joke to myself, not thinking they would do that. But as I was watching it, I was like, yeah, this looks like it's fucking this is the Halloween store
You mean
that
their actual their
little
mask?
party hats. But yeah,
Yeah,
but when you can't see the eyes, it looks like the Halloween. It looks like guys from the Halloween store.
I think
Anybody
partially
could
they
be a
did that on
tom-tom.
purpose. I mean, I think they did that on purpose because of what that's what it looked like in Return of the Jedi.
No,
weren't
you could see the eyes. No, you could see the eyes in Return of the Jedi. I mean, I'm even
Yeah.
going to go out. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic, and maybe I'm just in a bad mood. But fucking Battle for Endor has better looking monster men than this
Oh,
does for that
true.
very fucking reason. I mean, in my opinion. I mean, you know what I mean? Like that's the thing. It just when you can't see their eyes, they're just like not alive, and it's I don't know if it's a lighting issue, if it's the mask or what, but like the Gamorreans, like in the last episode, I think we could see it, and I was like kind of all about it. And then this one, just once again, like you just can't see the eyes. I know for me, it's a pet peeve, but
And I was also disappointed that they
It-
didn't have any of them play the drums. I mean, because that's what we got in the special edition, right?
oh the
Playing drums. So nobody practicing the drums in that fucking place, dude. What's up?
she did say hit it, Max, later on though, and that was pretty cool.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I like the general.
He's like,
Grievous
I'll hit
private,
it.
reference later on. I thought that was good with the droid.
Yeah.
I can make
Yeah.
my arms spin too.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like I don't know if it's me, but like visually, this episode did not.
And what animal is that he caught to eat?
Not a
I don't-
bantha.
Yeah, no,
The
he-
womp rat.
It looks like a porg.
See, like
Guys are
these moments right here with
Yeah,
the
see, you're
bantha.
picking them. You're picking some. I mean, there's plenty to
I'm
pick,
not
but if
saying-
that's the shit you're
I'm not-
picking
hey,
on, I mean,
that's what I
I
have
don't
a
know what the
question
fuck.
about.
What the
I
fuck
don't-
is Yoda eating? He's eating a fucking like a molded Twix
Eating
Twix bar. I mean,
tasty
Yes.
stew that
I-
Luke
I-
happened to enjoy.
I don't need any more time wasted in terms of story of figuring out how he got his dinner in this one. 'Cause
yeah, what do you
it's
He caught
enough
some wombats. Like, he knows how to catch.
on this one.
I like seeing these
I
little
like the swing for the fences.
bits of life on Tatooine, and personally, I did.
Yeah, I like this moment here was good with the bantha and stuff. But once again, the editor writer brain in me is like, this moment could have been somewhere else. And then when he says goodbye, it's just as effective. Like in one of the last like in the one of the previous episodes of the relationship with the bantha, he hasn't given a shit about this bantha the whole time. And now that he's about to kick it away, now they're like best friends and they fucking been through some shit and got this connection.
So do you think?
Yeah, the writing
Yeah,
is
John
weird.
Candy and Steve
Yeah.
Martin, sure.
Well, do you think that maybe like the first 3 could have been condensed into
Yeah.
an episode?
Oh, the whole
Yeah.
thing could have been condensed. Oh my god.
We're
Yeah.
3 hours
totally.
in, Max. We're more. This is longer than some Star Wars movies.
No, I completely
Yeah.
understand it. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, tonally, the whole thing's off. I still you're trying to do a story about him becoming a crime boss, but then you have a touching moment with him and his bantha, and so it's just weird. I just don't know. Is it supposed to be
actually that? I recommended that actually. Yeah. So tread lightly, James. Say
shit.
some shit. Say some shit.
That was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing, George.
I'm gonna switch to Force Ghost Lucas at some point too. I should hit that up. That'll be great. Be a whole episode.
Don't
of
forget
this.
the
Go
Diet
ahead.
Coke.
Yeah.
Hey James,
Catherine.
it's Rick McCollum. Hey buddy, how's it going? This episode
Yes,
was
Rick,
really rad. It was maybe the best episode since The Empire Strikes Back. And Lucas just wants you to tread lightly, or you're fucking fired. Bye.
Next message.
Yeah.
Message deleted.
If only I was so lucky to be in a position to be fired by Lucasfilm.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I mean, but yeah, I am like, in a way, I feel like this is a departure from the Mandalorian, because the Mandalorian, while it's 8 episodes, it does kind of book. It does kind of like we get around, and this one staying where it's at is really living in the moment. And I'm like, so like it's kind of weird because there's like stuff about like the Sarlacc that I was a little bit critical of early on. Well, we go back to it, and we're back to the Sarlacc again, and I like some of those moments. I will say, even though I'm jumping ahead, I thought he was going back just to fire the shit out with the guns. And I was like, fuck yeah.
I did
Damn,
too.
Boba.
He's in it with the ship.
Yeah,
did
I was
too.
like, you son of a bitch, get it. And then he's like, I'm just looking for my armor. And I was like, dude, you got out with it. Why are you trying to go back inside to get it? You
It was
dummy.
almost like this shot of
You
Luke
dummy.
kissing Leia on the forehead.
Yeah. And then
I mean, I do like the whole connective tissue with the Mandalorian in this one, and I'm sure that's what it was meant to be. But
yeah.
Sure.
I appreciated that.
Yeah.
I think that's probably why I didn't shit on it. So I mean, I liked it. So it was entertaining to me.
Yeah, the crew executed what was written, but look, this comes down to the writing on this whole series is not good. This is like the Cowboys and Aliens, John Favreau. You know,
Yeah. So
like, there's a concept that should have been easy, I feel. And whoa, sorry, Max, go ahead.
No, I mean, I guess ultimately, if anyone is gonna put any type of blame, it should be the writing, right? I mean, versus the direction.
Listen, I think.
Well, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
It's just what they have to work with, right? The directors, like, they're given the writing, and
yes and no, because like King of the Crystal Skull, I think is a great script, but
I was just gonna say that too.
It's not a great movie. So I will say that you can have a great script and have a shitty movie still. So it's not always on the writer just because the movie's bad. I mean, that's just the first step. The problem with this, a lot of is, if they had the time and they went back, as most movies you have pickup shoots, you don't really have that on TV as much. So a lot of the stuff they would probably look at it in the post process and be like, we could edit this together if we had this shot here. What if we just add this scene? We can cut this out. But they don't have that luxury. They got to get it right the first time. So yeah, and the scripts they have to be done quickly. And that's
can I talk to your
true,
supervisor,
James.
please?
James, that's not entirely true because Dave Klein was on that Fat Man Beyond, and he says that they're all fully animatic out before they ever shoot. So like they are timing everything, and not in like just a visual effects way, like the stories. So this story is timed. I mean, what you're talking about is, okay, maybe the performances weren't great on set, or we didn't get right coverage, or it isn't clear with the way we shot it. That's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is, why would he go back and point a giant flashlight into the mouth of a Sarlacc if it's still alive? Why wouldn't he just make sure it's fucking dead and then send a probe? Like
right. And you can't, and that stuff you can fix in post. I mean, yeah, because you animatic out, they get the script and they animatic out the story, whatever the script says. But then you can go back and post and say, and God, famously, you can look at the prequels where, like, even you look at the fight between Mace and Palpatine, and Anakin was supposed to be there, and they switched it up in post after it was already filmed. You don't have that luxury on this show. You got to get it right the first time. So they can't go back and say, this is stupid, this is dumb, let's rearrange this, let's film this scene instead, let's add this character here. They're pretty locked in once they get to filming.
I was happy I was strangely enjoyed the weirdness of the cyberpunk moment.
I did too. I love the music. I'm sure people are gonna bitch about that too, but I really like the music, and
that was a good part of the score.
I like the whole Robo Guts.
Some dude has Johnny Five Eyes, right, Max? Like, you know this?
Yeah.
He's got, and they go into his head. It's fucking. I'm like, that shit is so weird, like, and not in a bad way. Just like,
it's so wizard.
I can see it on your shirt.
I had almost, when you say that though, Max, like, for 1 second I thought when the guy turned around, the operator, it was gonna be Kidster. You know what I mean? So wizard, man. Yeah, Boba Fett's here. You know what I mean?
I was dancing in my chair.
Kidster is so much more. Kidster is so much more. But yeah, I did like. I did like. I mean, yeah, I had like
Star Wars. This was very, very, very different.
Cyberpunk meets Cyberpunk 2077 versus meets Star Wars kind of stuff with Rick James, bitch.
Who's the guy that did Electric Avenue? I think it's that dude.
No, it's not Rick James. It's somebody else. I can't think of his name. I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, what really bugs me about this.
Eddie Grant.
Eddie Grant. I was going to say Eddie Money, and I'm like, that's definitely not right. Eddie Grant.
Thanks, Smurfquake. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Right?
Yes.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, but it's
they
fun.
should have an Orabesh sign that says Electric Avenue in front of this.
We all rock down to Electric Avenue. No, it wouldn't be Kidster because they definitely kind of give this impression that the cybernetic trend on Tatooine as a youngsters thing. Yeah. Like when he comes in, they're like, what are you old fuckers doing in here? And so, but it was, I don't know. It was fun. I mean, like I said, it was fun, but it did feel it's a little bit of an aside.
Yeah,
it was a little bit of a weird way of handling it, and we kind of like figured this is how it would go down to some extent eventually.
Yeah, kind of Star Trekky too.
She looked like a car, like her tummy looked like a car, pistons and shit. I was like,
I didn't think I brought up the oil.
Yeah.
Is that nuke?
That's
nuke
like
in there?
Conduit. That's like electrical conduit and clear hose.
Antifreeze.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's got a toaster on her back.
This is just made a RoboCop 2 reference, Jason.
Yeah, I did.
People
I
understood
got
what nuke is. Well, James, you were 50 when it came out.
Well, exactly. I was there. So.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I forgot that you were an ex nuke addict.
Years of therapy down the drain now. There we go. Yeah.
Right.
The thing about the cyberpunk thing, I can't get over the fact it's so antithetical to anything Lucas would have ever done with Star Wars. And that's unfortunate. And it's the same thing with like Star Trek. Once Roddenberry died and he was out of the
I don't
picture,
think so,
you got
James.
stuff. Oh yeah, like I said, I know.
Okay, well, Arden Lin is in a video game,
Yeah,
rocking a cybernetic arm that I think almost looks like the exact same one the operator put down with that 3-fingered fist.
yeah,
Like,
but I know.
No, I get it.
But
But
thing with cybernetic enhancements, it was supposed to be, the whole idea of man versus machine is completely antithetical to the whole theme and purpose of Star Wars. To say
why
that
did Luke
you
get a
use your
cybernetic
humanity
hand,
to
though?
technology. That's the whole purpose of Star Wars: is losing your humanity. Is technology going to serve you? You're going to serve technology, and that's the whole metaphor of that is with Darth Vader. So when you start having people that are willingly going through this kind of transformation, you're pretty much shitting on the whole premise of Star Wars. It makes
no, I'm not shit.
zero
I don't.
sense.
Well, I mean,
Lucas never would have done this.
James,
Luke has a robot hand, though, James. Like, he
Yeah, but what's the
literally has a
purpose of showing that? He looks at that and says, "My God, I'm becoming my father."
Right. It's the
Yeah.
purpose of
The whole purpose
that in
of that
that
is not to say,
movie.
"Look at this cool hand I've got." The whole
Okay,
idea
it's
is
the
to say,
purpose
this
of
is
that
a
in the
bad
movie.
thing because I'm becoming like my father who turned to evil.
Well, I
Yes.
will say that these people who are generally getting this stuff aren't main characters, and
Sure.
she did get it by being evil. And so, as we in certain ways, it is in line with the Lucas thing that the more you fuck up, the more you lose your humanity, the more you get these body parts, and so she is. So it kind of goes both ways.
But-
I don't think. I mean, like you would say, Lucas wouldn't do Cyberpunk, but then he literally kind of rips off Coruscant from Blade Runner. So there's kind of like elements of it. I mean, to some extent, and Had Abandoned did exist before Blade Runner, I believe, actually.
And Underworld.
But-
I mean, when he was shooting Underworld, that straight up looks like
Yeah.
ABC TV Blade.
Oh yeah,
Runner.
and I mean, hey, Lobot is an empire, but the whole purpose.
Yeah,
of
what's
that is
Lobot? He's
that-
half
right,
cyborg.
right, and that's like I said. That's the only reason. The only reason West End got to do a book with cybernetic enhancements in it is because they're like, Lobot is in your movie, and they couldn't get around that, so they had to come up with an explanation for it.
But don't say it goes against everything in Star Wars. I mean, it's a very blanket statement to make. I get you don't like it, and it's not. It may not be the theme of the show.
Oh, it's definitely not the show.
It is a weird part of Star Wars, and Lucas gave us giant fart jokes in a whole movie once, over and over again. So like, don't talk about shitting on Star Wars. I could literally show you 100 poodoo jokes in one movie.
Right. Well, like to draw a reference to Star Trek, Deep Space Nine never would have happened under Roddenberry. It's not Roddenberry Star Trek.
Well, I'm going to say though, Roddenberry shouldn't have been a huge pussy, and he should have lived. And Lucas shouldn't have been a huge pussy, and he shouldn't have sold it. So that he died and he sold it, so they get what they deserve. No, I'm kidding, of course. But I will say, I think James did make the best point I'm probably going to hear in the next 24 hours, and that's why didn't this fucking thing just go into Sarlacc and look for the goddamn armor from the start? Because that really would have just solved the whole thing right there. But yeah, but it was fun, like these are all moments where I could see like when they, well, really quickly to go back to my other gripe about it, I just think that if the show had a narrative idea that when they talked about it, when they discussed it, it sounded like it was going to be cool. Then they did it, and it just is what it was. It just came out the way it came out. Nothing that they could have done about it in the end after they made it, unless they were to go back and remake it. And
shiny scooters and all.
Shiny scooters don't fucking bother me. It's just more of the fact that it like so much of the stuff is just sort of like a retread, and all of it should have been done, like I said, more efficiently. But
shiny cooter.
Yeah, this was like and then this is where like like when we had our maybe one of our first shouting matches of the show, Rob was saying like, this looks like a TV show, and I'm like, it is a TV show. we're like going back on that. But in this now I'm mad that it looks like a TV show. So I'm a fucking hypocrite,
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's true.
It's a TV show.
I am. Yeah, but I am. This is the one where I start to feel like in this weird way, like I'm always like nothing is sacred, but then I'm like, but you're going to Jabba's palace, letting us explore it, and it's really boring. It's just like a bunch of
the joke with the robots went on a little too long.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
love
like,
the
okay,
robots.
I love like the
that's
rat
why I
catcher
disagree.
coming out. That was freaking hilarious.
Wasn't
It's
wasn't that one droid from like the Clone Wars, that little fucking bitch?
Yeah,
The one that
the little rabbit ears guy.
Yeah. That was funny to see though.
I love those. I love all the droids in this series, by the way, except for
I
the
didn't-
Boston Dynamics.
I don't know, this it didn't bother me like that. I
don't
like
know.
that.
If you told me
I just
that,
don't get why. I just don't get why Boba Fett told the droid he's Boba Fett. That's what I don't get. Like, what was that all about? Like, I don't- But I love like when the droid pulls out the 6 knives and does the General Grievous thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I like the way the droids are moving, how they move weird, and like I love all that. It's just
But if I told
I
you
was
at the
literally
start of this
laughing.
show that there was going to be a scene in Jabba's palace with Boba Fett hunting down a rabbit robot, you'd been like, "What the? What?"
It's almost like
well, I played.
my
it's from
favorite
Mario
too.
The
64. James.
fattest
You don't
bounty
get any
hunter
more-
in the galaxy. He's hunting down
James,
a
you don't get
robotic rabbit.
any more Mario 64 than that, right? There's a whole thing in Peach's
I-
Castle where you
that's what-
chase a rabbit. So it's
I just
that's
want
what
like
I thought too. Metal Mario, how you get him?
yeah, metal.
right?
Why does Boba take his helmet off everywhere though? Like when he goes into this, like I don't know. It's just weird. The writing, yeah, we can say it over and over again, but the writing on this show is just look. I like Jon Favreau a lot, but maybe they should have hired some writers for this one.
They needed a second draft, no doubt. I mean, this
Yeah.
They
reads
needed
like
a new writing team. I feel, to be honest, like.
Well,
He's
and
tired.
that article that came out this week with Pablo Hidalgo saying that they changed Coruscant to Hosnian Prime and Force Awakens. I think it's kind of a prime example of what part of the problem with some of the stuff is that you have too many cooks in the kitchen, and you don't have that singular vision, that voice like you had when Lucas was there. So you have to work with all these different voices, and I think it just gets watered down because. Rob talked about it, like who's passionate about this? Well, they might have all been passionate, but they might have all had, different ideas bringing to the table. And then you get this kind of watered down mess of somebody wants to go this way and somebody wants to go that way. And who's really in charge and who gets to say, and,
That's the question. Who's
fair.
really in charge? Who gets to say? And with The Force Awakens, I mean, that was my argument at the time when I saw this. I'm like, did they blow up Coruscant? And it wasn't until after they're like, someone's like, no, in the book it's Hosnian Prime. I'm like, the movie doesn't tell you ever say Hosnian Prime. You don't. I just thought they blew up Coruscant. Like,
They say
oh, that's
but
a big move.
Coruscant.
You'll miss it. It's in the movie, but it's not like anybody was paying that close of attention to notice that they said Hosnian Prime.
Is Max checking my pronunciation?
No, yeah, Coruscant.
Okay.
Or Skunt.
That's how they say it in the UK.
Yeah.
But once again, this shot exemplifies my thing of when you can't see the eyes, it doesn't feel alive. And
I
it's
don't
just-
know. I noted that I really liked how. I guess it's a campy thing for me.
Yeah,
That I like how
Yeah.
campily bad it looks. But
Well, it's hard with the lighting in there. And you get a dark environment like that to try to light so you can see the lights.
yeah, if you have a snout,
Yeah.
if you have a snout and your eyes are like way back there,
Yeah.
you're not going to get very much glimmer in your eyes. But
Yeah, that's what.
I-
But Mac, that's what movies do. They put lights somewhere where lights don't exist, so you can see things dramatic.
yeah, I know.
All
Like
right, like that.
real
That's
film,
every.
film noir.
Well,
They could have like done like a
Hey,
little.
when I go into a stadium, there aren't really like red lights everywhere. They have to put them there. You know?
What?
Yeah.
So, like, doesn't-
well, there's different philosophies on cinematography in terms of can you just put lights anywhere to make your scene look good versus like Roger Deakins would say, no, you can't just put lights anywhere to make your scene look pretty. You got to make it actually make sense too.
He could have
I would
had
say
it.
There's only one Roger Deakins. Like,
could have had a
I
very-
listen to Roger Deakins Sorry, Max.
No, go ahead.
I listen to Roger Deakins' podcast all the time.
Yeah.
And
Great guy.
you know, he's everyone's like, I have a friend who's a cinematographer, and I told him, you know, given what this show looks like, I'll take a Greg Fraser who does something artistic over someone trying to be Deakins, because I've only seen one person ever pull off Deakins.
It's Deakins, yeah. Yep.
If anyone else had shot Shawshank Redemption or The Big Lebowski, it would have looked like a 90s TV show.
Yep.
But they got Deakins. So unless you can get Deakins, go artistic. Like the lighting in Alien and Alien 2 has lights that are just coming up from under the floor somewhere for no reason, and it works because it.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying that, you know, I don't know what their philosophy is going into this. If they're just trying to make it look pretty, or if they're trying to make it look sensible and pretty.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, that's hard. I mean, yeah,
it would have been very cool if the Gamorrean guard had a very Joan Crawford moment with the no, not that shit. The you know, the whole film noir lighting with the the eyes, and
I was thinking the same thing, but I was thinking it would be hilarious if it was beating the shit out of Sindel. Just for no reason, you know.
That Wookiee could have just got drunk as shit, walked outside, saw some Trandoshans fucking, you know, talking shit about him, and then killed him. Boba could have got in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that whole thing didn't need to play out. That writing of that scene doesn't strengthen her any. It just gives her something to do. But it feels like if that's all if they're gonna, her acting's so good, and she's not doing that cheesy character bit that we see a lot sometimes in these shows. She's doing like real good acting. It's like you couldn't figure out a better. I don't know, man.
Is she dressed in the white to show she's neutral?
Tamora did really good. I thought, because I saw like, I don't know, I got to watch it on my desktop, so I was closer, and I saw a lot of emotion. I'm gonna be serious. Like, I saw a lot of emotion from him, like teary-eyed and shit like that. And so I was, which I didn't get to see before. I probably gonna go back and watch it. He might be giving the same acting, but
I would say the acting in this episode's probably been the best of the ones we've gotten so far.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know.
It is working. Like the dynamic between Fennec and Boba is working, but it is very 80s TV. When they were saying Remington Still, they weren't fucking around.
No, they're not.
They were dead serious about that shit, because it's.
I don't know. There were many things about this show that I really, really enjoyed, and I might be the only one, but I did. I mean,
I wanted to see her little mini lightsaber she uses in this shot.
I liked. I think there's a lot of detail in this too that I enjoyed seeing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know, it would have been nice for them to explain why his ship is sitting there 5 years after the fact.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
why is it just sitting
for a lot of money? Shit.
Yeah, and it should have some like beer in it or something. Like it was just being used to like bring beer, like kegs
chain
of
coated
beer,
like all this other crap.
Yeah.
This would have been a good time for them to get off Tatooine for an episode. Hey, I got to get my ship that's on this other planet, and change up the environment just for an episode, and get the hell off of Tatooine and mix it up, so we don't feel like we're going over the same stuff over and over and over again. I mean, this
flyby, right?
Yeah.
All I could keep thinking is Jennifer Beals' cleavage, a Star Wars story. I want to see that.
She looks gorgeous in that.
Yeah, she did.
And now I know, like James said, I have another outfit to put together.
So EV9D9, he gets slapped around by them, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm out. I'm gonna go open up the Mos Eisley Cantina," because that happens too. Like
right.
I don't get paid enough. I'm out of here.
You know, EV99 seemed to have way too much of an attitude to be a fucking chef. I think she'd be like, "Screw this shit. I ain't doing that. Make your own food."
Yeah, is EV9?
Jabba had his back.
I was wondering if EV99 is voiced by Mark Hamill. So is this? Yeah. So I don't know. but anyways, I wonder if it wasn't this one. I didn't get to check to see, but so I'm guessing he's like in like he, she, it, they is just inspired by Boba. It's like, you know what? I'm not gonna be the slave anymore. I'm gonna become my own boss, and I'm gonna go to woo her. I'm gonna kick his ass, and I'm gonna take it from him. And I'm kind of I'm kind of into it. He's like, you know what? I'm tired of these robots not picking up rats. He's like, this is bullshit. If I would on
and all the technology, and it's just carrying a net.
yeah. That's Star Wars for you, right? That is Star Wars for you right there. I mean, it is that basic. It is it is like it's high tech and dumb tech, low tech at the same time. Yeah, so my biggest stupid bitch of the whole thing here that anyone could just tell me I'm stupid for, and I'm fine with that, is I like the salad droid's design and look. I do not like it with EV9D9. I do not think this was a nice pairing of wine and cheese. I think they're both fine together, but I would not have put these designs in the same shot if I was making it. I think that was kind of
they look very different.
It doesn't feel cohesive in shot. You know what I mean? Is that the
story from episode 2 though? When they're on the ship, when Padme and Anakin are disguised as refugees, and he's making flapjacks.
I
believe droid. Or very close to.
Yeah, very close to it.
I think the head was different.
Maybe.
The serving droid from the refugees.
So what do you think? You think it would have been better if they had like a darker color for that?
Just something that complemented it better in the shot itself. Like I said, like by itself, like this right here, like if I just saw this, I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's funny, that's neat, you know.
It looks like a candlestick holder.
But
like it looks newer, maybe.
But when I just see them together, it just doesn't. To me, it just didn't. You know, in terms of a shot, it just didn't really go together good. But it is pretty funny when it gets its neck cut off.
She did that for you.
Yeah, and then this little fucker was fast, so it was like the only shot I got of him funny before we could start. But yeah,
he's funny.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
It would have been funny if Boba had been like, "Hey, tell me where the key to something is." I'm not to say that was part of the fucking show. They had a map, but and the droid deactivated itself. You know.
Yeah.
Like then there'd be. I just don't get why he was like, "I am Boba Fett." I just don't get the. Like that's it. That's the only line you got. I don't get it.
And that's something you cut out.
I like it when people think I'm dead. I'm like, then why would you go around telling people you're Boba Fett or droids? You know what I mean? If you want people to think you're dead, like.
Well, and that's one of the things that it's in the script, but you fix that in editing. So that's the editor's fault. They cut that out. That's not necessary.
Well, I'll tell you a weird shot that we skipped over was. So when he's at the fire with Fennec and they decide to go get a ship, then it cuts to the middle of the day. It's blinding light for 1 second, then back to dark. And I'm like, just cut out the blinding light shot. Like
directed by Ed Wood.
Because it blew my fucking eyeballs out in the dark. I was like, oh shit! Oh fuck! You know, and then it goes off. And then it goes back to dusk. I'm like, all right, I get progression a day, but didn't need to go there. Like,
well, not only that, but they made a campfire outside Jabba's palace. No one noticed that there was someone like cooking a Ronto or on a...
No, I know. hey man, look, plot logic on this show is bad.
It's really bad. Yeah.
Humble pilgrims on our way.
Yeah, confirmed. That is the droid from Attack of the Clones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good job.
Or some derivative version of that, but basically the same.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, for what it's worth, I liked maybe an implication. It doesn't have to mean this, but when we see that skiff there, we kind of see, oh, that's probably the one that Bib took away with Max Rebo. They got on there with a couple more homies from the skiff, and they darted off during the action, and there it is.
Nah, they probably came back to the palace to pick up some clothes.
No, but how did they get there? Everybody walks in the show, but this is probably like the one hint of how those fuckers got around for once,
right?
And it's this skiff.
They threw it back.
You know, Han and Leia took the other one. but you know, so it's like, you know, you see it there, and these moments with the skiff, I actually didn't get the shot because I ran out of time. I was like, fuck. But see, look, it looks dead to me. It just doesn't look like it looks bad.
It's like a Halloween costume.
Yeah, instead of,
And it is.
but what I was gonna say was yeah, that shot when the slave one is right directly geometrically or whatever, like over the Sarlacc, how it fits. Oh, that's a great shot. I didn't get it. I was mad at myself, but that made the episode worth it for me, for what it was worth. And the escape, you know, it was fun. It was.
So the ship is stronger than Fortress Rock. I don't. That was the one thing I was like, all right. I mean,
hero ships can, like the Millennium Falcon, it could like go skiing on ice and shit if they need it to, and then if it's not a hero ship, it just blows up.
I love
this
this
simulation, Rob. It's aeronauts. They're in a simulation.
I hear you. The trick is to not hold on it long enough to make you think.
Yeah,
it's not to not do it. It's that they keep doing it. I'm like, now I got to think about it. You know, like.
Bingo.
So, by the way, when we cut to the shot, and it's like the low to the ground, you know, there's no bikers in the shot. I'm like, man, I want a pod racing series.
Yeah.
They seem to got that all figured out pretty well. Like,
I love that he shot the shit out of all these fuckers.
This was fucking Falcor and those bullies from fucking Neverending Story, and he puts all those motherfuckers in the garbage can. You know,
because they're the ones that fucking killed the Tusken Raiders, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, I told you I don't think that's the case, and then Fennec goes, "Yeah, I don't think that's what they did." Sure, but you know,
yeah,
they're the ones who took the rap.
Yeah.
So during this scene, I'm gonna jump a little bit, but I never liked that beak thing that came out of the Sarlacc, but they sure as fuck made use of it, and I liked it.
Yeah,
and that's
what I was saying.
I literally, I'm not lying. I screamed loud. I got scared. I don't normally get scared or freaked out at like horror movies, but this one I screamed and my cats ran off.
Yeah, they played it well.
I wasn't expecting it, but that was me.
Now I gotta wonder why Lando still has a leg, because that tentacle pulled down a starship.
Right,
man. Lando should have whipped around like a rag doll.
He's got a bad.
Yeah. Well, that's where if the Sarlacc had thrown out like 6 legs, you know what I mean? Like it's just
something.
Like, you know, like then it's like, all right, now you're really.
Yeah, it was a bit much, but.
Yeah, so it's kind of strange because like it's like easy to be critical of the episodes.
The beak too, so it's a tongue in there.
Yeah, it could literally eat its own ass. It basically like it's like easy to be like really critical of it, but then of like the use of the Sarlacc early on, and then now we're here. You're like, okay, they really are doing everything that they can do with this beat. And I don't know if they're just like beating a dead horse now or not. That's where I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure how I feel about it. In the big picture, I might be like, it was everything. They did it all, and I appreciate it. Or am I like never going to want to watch this again? Or am I going to watch it like one more time and be like, I'm pretty good with it, you know? Because this I mean, and I've watched the first episode. Like I watched all 3 episodes before this one today, and so when I got to it, usually that makes me more pumped for it. I'm like, oh yeah, because there's gonna be a bunch of new stuff, and it gets really exciting. And I got to this one, and I'm like, ooh, I've already been looking at this stuff for like 2 hours already, and it's not really giving me very much anything new, and it's not. I don't know what I'm expecting, and I don't think the show has adequately, either through the marketing or the story, set what my expectations are supposed to be. So I feel like I'm kind of like all over the place with it. I'm like, we're gonna get on with this, but we're not. What's the scope?
It's unfortunate that they went to Tatooine and Mando, because a lot of the stuff could have been saved for this show and would have felt, I think, a little more fresh and new had we not just seen it last year.
Yeah.
So, and the fact they went back to Tatooine twice in Mando, it's like, stop going to Tatooine, for the love of God.
Yeah, there's always that shit planet Jakku.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, what's those Star Wars and shit planets? Why can't we get some, like, you know, like everything happens in, like, you know, Space Alabama?
You feel like Ray?
No,
You've never seen so much green before.
Well, no, I think what's
Alien.
weird though is when you show how big Mos Espa is, but you only see like a couple of small streets in El Segundo, and then you see that big shot, and then it's a couple of streets in El Segundo. It's just like there's a giant whole city there. We're never going to that one.
The biggest
you
little
know,
city in
like,
Tatooine.
Yeah, you think they'd be a little more credit because obviously they did that in Empire with Bespin, with kind of just rearranging the halls. They do it with the Death Star. They kind of they make it look like it's a new location with the same stuff, and it's like they didn't try very hard to.
Yeah, if there had been like the Trandoshan, they're like, hey, these people only certain parts of. If we had a big sequence in one of each three different parts, like why does Boba keep hanging out in the same part of Mos Espa? You know, he should go to the Trandoshan section, and that's where the Wookiee went to pick a fight. Like he's getting drunk in the Trandoshan section just to fucking start shit with him. You know, would be something. But
yeah,
and then I don't know.
You know, and I know obviously TV budget limits. You can't just let's just go freaking everywhere. But you know, still, it's I don't. This is coming off that this was very rushed. That they just went with the first draft of the script that they had to just put together. Like they didn't get coverage for everything they needed. This seems like
they went to a lot of places in Mando. Like I don't know. When people
how long
like,
will
but they went. So that's my problem with this show is that we've seen Mando. So why does this feel like the show we should have got before Mando in a way? You know what I mean? In terms of like its scale and
maybe they took their time with Mando. And even Mando, I have problems with that. I mean, you know, we can get into that. And you know, say like the Mudhorn episode is the Krayt Dragon episode. They're the same episode.
No more extra crispy for me.
For the in a way, like for the hero, the Krayt Dragon episode's done better, I think.
Yes.
So it's like it learned from itself. So that's why I'm like, it's okay. You know, you got better, you improved.
Yeah, it's like what Return of the Jedi was to A New Hope. Basically, it's like, you know, we're basically gonna do the same thing with the Attack of the Death Star, but we're gonna like, you know, take it to 11.
Up 10 times, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that very well may be the case. I mean, I don't know. And not to like give it a pass on every single thing because it came out now. I mean, it came out during we're still in a pandemic, and it came out during it. But like during the time when they were filming this, this stuff. Like I don't know how anybody focused on this bullshit. To be honest with you, like you know, there were bigger things to be afraid of, and it was a complicated time. But at the same time, it really I almost wonder if somebody's gonna edit this into like a 2-hour movie, and it's just gonna be really great.
One wonders why they didn't, if they you know what I mean, like if the scheduling was a problem. Well, now you got all the footage. I know we said a series, but it's gonna be a limited series, 4 episodes or like one long, you know what I mean, like Snyder edit fucking thing, you know, like to make a bad example, but it's the only example I got, you know. Like,
well, we'll never know, but I mean, obviously during the pandemic too, Disney stock not so good. So maybe Favreau gets a phone call and they say, "Oh, those reshoots you had scheduled or that, you know, extra day that you wanted, no, not going to happen. Cut it off." Never know.
No, usually the money is allocated before, so they were spending good money. They were still spending good money, probably. But what I do like about Star Wars is if you have your eyebrows, you are healthy in your back. If you don't have your eyebrows, you are very damaged and hurt inside, and you can only do so much.
That is true.
Well, he has color now.
Yeah,
he's not white.
Color. But it was funny that his eyebrows grew back like the next day. Wouldn't it be cool if like Luke Skywalker went into the Bacta tank and came out and he just had these big ass like bushy fucking Oscar the Grouch looking eyebrows? Like we need to cut those things. You were in Bacta.
He looks like Ernest Borgnine now. You know,
He does kind of look like Ernest Borgnine now. You're right.
Yeah, man. Little Yul Brenner kind of.
Yeah,
No, and those shorts he's wearing, are those like is that like a utility
they're
belt?
called panties. Please,
Yeah, but he's got like little.
he's wearing
pocket things,
panties.
like a Batman belt.
I had a feeling this was going to happen. Actually, I think
Yeah.
everyone probably did.
I figured that he was going to hire Black Crescent like pretty soon, and I have a feeling that in the by the next episode he'll be hiring more. I was a little bit surprised that as we get to it, but that he didn't. I skipped a lot of the dinner table stuff because we fucking already seen that for like the last 2 months. Like we've seen all of it for the most part.
I wanted them to redo this one and make it like a Modern Family because I just want to hear what Kirsten has to say. I'm not a bad guy. I don't think I am. I'm just kind of doing my thing.
Yeah. I will say a little bit. I mean, I guess this is just me being stupid critical, and it's obviously because they already made the fucking set, so they were just going to reuse it. They already made this fucking Wookiee. They were going to reuse it, but I don't feel like this was the kind of place he would hang out. I think he was more of a Mos Eisley
Right.
Cantina guy. I kind of think he belongs down the street, and I think he'd be happier there.
Yeah.
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 I can't lie. I'm an Olive Garden guy. When I'm there, I'm family, and when I go to
she
a
knew who
fancy
he
place, I don't
was.
feel good.
I was into the
Yeah.
Road Warriors,
She
man.
knew who he was, and
Yeah.
she tried to calm him down and shit like that. So
Well, I mean, this whole scene was unnecessary. That's the real tragedy of it. It's like they could have done something completely different and necessary, and then so now we gotta go back here and show this. We could have just recruited him in the last episode and been done with it.
Yeah.
Move
I
on.
don't see
weird.
Tony Soprano wreck shop on a restaurant. I don't see him.
Or yeah, I would even say, I mean, like as a revision to armchair this thing even further. If you wanted to have this moment either way, you could have had Boba hire him back at the thing, and then he could have been like, "Where you're going?" Oh, he's going to get a drink, and then we don't see him again. That's why he leaves in the moment. Then we get here and he's making trouble, and then Boba's like, "You need to chill out." You know what I mean? And then he goes on with whatever he was there for. But I still don't. I guess Boba was there to look for him from the very start. Did Boba expect to find him in there? Because he kind of goes to the town. I don't remember now. But Boba goes to the town, and then he goes into this bar, and then he's in there, and then he's like, okay, and then I don't know what he was doing there, but maybe he was trying to find him or trying to hire somebody. I don't know.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he obviously did not like the Trandoshans at all. So he was
he
going
just said he wanted to make a showing, and so I just think it was kind of a coincidence that he was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I'm not going to give this show much slack at this point. So the fact that he just happens to time it perfectly where he shows up when all this is going down, it's like that's just lazy writing now. Come on.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of for as much shit as the speeder bikes get. These fancy people being here makes about as much sense, but I guess Tatooine isn't as she says as uncivilized as it once was, as we move after the Empire. But
It's a pretty dress.
yeah, it's very, very Battlestar. I mean, like it kind of reminds me of like in a good way, like old Battlestar Galactica kind of stuff where you or Buck Rogers, what I'm thinking. Remember the old Buck Rogers TV show? Every single fucking episode he was in like fucking Studio 54 space or something like that, like every time. And yeah, I like that. I think it's pretty fun though. So yeah, I can see that.
Oh, we didn't see our friend Max
Lee Majors, man. He's
in any
awesome.
scenes.
Yeah, I was looking for him. I was like, is he in the war? Like,
Well, you know what, he could be.
Because he has his braids. But I
he
didn't.
He didn't say if he was like out in the streets this time. He didn't say anything. just said his braids are going to be prominent. So actually, I'm probably going to go back and look at this scene.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
to be
Well, I gave it the once over. I
too.
didn't see him. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, those braids are kind of hard to miss. At the same time, though, she kind of is easier to look at. Than his braids. I'm sorry to let them know that.
Well, she's white colored. She's wearing white.
Yeah.
Where's the bathroom?
Where's the beef?
Dude. Yeah, look at it. It's like, are we gonna kiss? Because I will kiss you when you're Wookiee mouth.
I'm not okay right now. I'm not okay right now. This is not okay.
Yeah.
Pineapple.
This shot.
I got a lizard dick. I got a lizard
This shot is
dick.
great.
That's a good shot.
It's pathetic.
That smell.
See those eyes? See those eyes? Makes it alive. Star Wars people, just so you know.
I
that
keep
makes it
telling
alive.
that to those DC guys who think Batman should have no eyes, and I'm like, you really don't want it.
You don't want that. I love Batman with no. That would not be good.
Batman with no eyes?
Mark, you're gonna have to watch it because we have this difference in opinion.
That only happened in Batman Forever, right? And those stupid sonar eyes.
No, it happened in the Dark Knight as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He really looks good.
Yeah.
Submarine, Mr. Wayne.
Fucking good.
And then
There's
you
the
know,
dinner.
this was the last screenshot that I took because I ran out of time, and you know, there wasn't really too much visually going on after that. But yeah,
some vegan options. Tell me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to see one of those Transoceans, little lizard tongues come out and like lizard tongue some food or something.
The Jar Jar with the fruit.
Not like that, but yeah, I guess no, you're right, Jesse. I guess that's what I just said. I take it back. I don't want to see that shit. We've seen that shit.
I liked
Can't correct it.
Geek Various' comment here. Book of Boba is like when you start dating a new person and the first date is meh, second date is really good, and the subsequent dates make you miss your ex.
It's on point. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I really don't like being so down on it. And I you know, like I said, I hope I watch it in the morning and I have like a different opinion on it. But I'm usually a really easy sell on the first episode, the first airing for me. That's usually like the one where I'm like, yeah, it was so fun because I usually have fun. And
I did like, and actually Murph Quake just said that the Mando music at the end. So I think that's going to be the intro for him to come.
Yeah. They made it abundantly clear, and it's going to be. Bestman Bolton put the report out.
So we have three more. We have three more shows.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, they have been selling those last three as the ones where the shit gets serious.
So you think that after these three that they could announce like another season, or you don't think it's gonna?
Well, I think the next three episodes are the true make or break of this thing. Because I mean, like so far, like what everything amounts to. Well, really quickly, because I want to. This is a bit backtracking, but when I was rewatching the episode, the last episode, the Tuscan woman, she is very, very like recognizable, with like the bandage hair thing going on, and the kid. Yeah, and I'm getting like the impression that the mom and the kid lived, even though that stick does get. I think almost like there's almost an implied visual story that the Tuscan chief probably had her take the kid and run, and she protects the kid to get away because that's like the heir of the village of the chief. And so I kind of wonder if they're going to come back. but just for like what it's worth at some point.
And
at
she would have
least.
had one of the speeders, right, to grab onto and just shoot out of there, possibly. Still, right? Do they have those speeder bikes?
Maybe.
I don't know. It could. I mean, you could just tell the story a million ways. The people who came to kill him, she could have just taken one of their rides. Yeah, they could explain that away. But anyways, but that's kind of like my thing is right now so far, like deep into it. The Tuscan episode is all of the emotional weight, all of the meaning, and everything that's mattered has been on that Tuscan episode, and they're all fucking just dead now.
It'd be pretty cheap if they kind of went that route of, because it was very ambiguous in that scene. And so you might be right. But it's so cheap if they did that. And then, oh no, they're back. And it's like, come on, guys. Don't treat me like a child.
Wouldn't it have been cool though, James, if like Boba squatted down and picked up the Tuscan kid's head and just did like the Django moment again? Like this is like always what he does.
It's like the Tebow, except it's the Django.
Go to the soul.
Yeah.
Someone today posted a clip from the comics showing the black melons when they first appeared, and it's this clip where the character says these fucking things stink, but the Tuscans live off them, and once you get a taste for it, you can't kind of like give it up. And I'm like, if they really taste horrible and they smell bad and they're disgusting, it would have been great to watch him reject that as an offer in the first episode or something. Like he spits it up. I'm not drinking this shit. And then by the end, he develops a whole thing for it. Like
it.
Even when she tastes it, they don't really play the whole like, it tastes like fucking dick, like
Hey,
hey, sorry, dirty dick, Boba's dick in the desert, whatever you want to do. Like, but something where it's just stuff like that where I'm like, I can relate more to the characters with that stuff than I can with 20-minute long expositions showing how I should care about someone.
Well, at this point, dude. At this point, the scripts feel like there were a bunch of to-do checkboxes of shit that must be done, and then those are being done, but everything else is just like written in stream of consciousness at the moment, and there's not a lot of going back. It's not a lot. It's a show full of fucking flashbacks, but they don't ever think back to the character moments one time, like you just mentioned. Like if the thing tasting like dirty dick, it doesn't come in until like he's been eating that shit all this time, and then now they're mentioning that all this time.
It depends. It's surprising what you can, the smell and taste that you can get used to.
Yeah, I mean, Boba's like, he's gonna spit on it a little bit, and then it tastes like your spit. It's fine.
Well, the way it plays in the first episode is that it's just this thing that has water in it. Even when they drink it, it looks like it's just water. And I'm like, well, then why does everyone have moisture farmers if there's just water sitting there in little fucking melons? Why aren't there melon farmers? And it's, well, no, it's actually just rancid, cheese dick milk. And I'm like, well, then fucking show and say that. That is a complete failure of the, you know what I mean? Like if it's a black melon full of sand ricotta, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to drink that fucking shit. That's horrible.
Or if it's apple cider vinegar. I mean, that sounds like ass. So.
Oh, it does taste.
So, but they just don't make that's a failure on my part. That's
actually Sanka. We're drinking Sanka.
Would anybody like a fresh Sanka?
Star Wars Santa is really mad at you right now, James. I grew up on that. That's you don't get through the 70s without getting through Sanka.
I like Sanka.
Little Sanka.
If it was Sanka, everybody would just dehydrate and die as opposed to drinking that Sanka.
Yeah, most people who drank Sanka ended up having a heart attack anyway.
I liked Sanka and Tang.
I like
Tang, which is how the Bundys got through. Right?
I don't like guessing too hard about what the creatives are up to when I have no idea about certain elements of it. But I almost do wonder if the fact that we have two powerful people here. I'm not saying they're fighting. I'm saying, do we have two powerful people who were just not wanting to step on each other's toes, and we're just like, hey, they got it. Hey, they got it. And in the end, what we have is nobody picking it up.
Hold on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, like I said, and I think I mentioned it the one time when I got to meet Alan Dean Foster. He was talking about, no one wants to be the guy in the room to stand up and say, I don't think the script is very good when you have a guy that's coming off like a $400 million blockbuster movie, and it's made over $1 billion worldwide, and you don't want to be the asshole that stands up and says the script isn't very good.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there are a bunch of yes men sitting around. They like Favreau's like, hey, I got the script, and they're all like, hey, great. And I don't know if this was, he's the only one that was on it. He's the only one who got writing credit for pretty much all the episodes. But I would like to think that somebody else took a pass at it. I would hope. Man, even I don't care how good you are. You want somebody else looking at your stuff at the very least.
I mean, yeah.
That's why TV is so good, though, Jay, is because of writers' rooms. It's much harder to be one person with the screenplay. You know what I mean? Spending like a year or so on a screenplay for a studio. It's really, but when you got a writer's room, you got a bunch of people who can sit there. They're hopped up on caffeine and and in and out, and they're able to like just come up with shit that a group of people can come up with, and then divvy it out to the person who's strongest for that material. And it just doesn't feel like that happened here.
I mean, it's not all sunshine and roses when you have a writer's room, though, too. I mean, because you do have this conflicting interest too. You have multiple voices, so sometimes shit gets watered down because someone's like, "Hey, I got this vision," and then you get 3 other people involved and they fuck it up. So there's always a fine balance of that. At the end of the day, you do need someone that has a singular voice and vision. So whether that's Favreau, whether it's Rodriguez, you need somebody that says, this is my show and this is my vision and this is what I'm
that's the showrunner.
Yeah.
And it's been unclear. It goes back and forth with if he's a real showrunner, who's running the because I mean it sound, and I don't want to put words in Max's mouth, but it sounded like he was like Rodriguez was the showrunner, which is how it came off to me in all the initial marketing. Mm-hmm. But then it gets muddled when I was like, who's actually running it? Like I don't know. But I'm gonna assume at this point Robert Rodriguez is the showrunner and made all the final decisions, and so that's who I sort of put on.
Yeah, it's very unclear as to really who's to blame for what, and like whose vision. Obviously, it's Favreau's vision. He wrote it. We have to assume that it was his premise, his idea to do the show. So then, and we'll never know because Disney's never going to tell us. So we can speculate all day. We'll never know. Unfortunately,
I'll be right back.
Cool. Yeah, I always wonder about that kind of stuff because it's like, did Favreau have the idea, knew what he wanted to do? There's all this content that could be done. Obviously, these little beats that could be told, and threw it out there. And then didn't do it himself, not necessarily, kind of like gives it off to like a different director and stuff. Yeah. And then and wasn't inspired enough to do it himself, but thinking that if they were going to bring the freshness and elevate it, and it just didn't happen here. Because I mean, right now, those last 3 episodes really gotta fucking rock. I mean, it really has to rock. And just bringing in Mandalorian and going, remember him. When I'm getting another season of him, I'm like, that could be cool, but it doesn't really.
It's such close member berries. You know what I mean? Remember that thing we did? That's why you're watching this. Yeah, I bet you're bored. Gonna get it back.
The wah wah little musical thing, like telegraphing that he's coming.
I think that they seem to think that they don't need to have a story as long as they can just throw some shit in there that people are going to clap up. Mando shows up, Boba's going to ride a Rancor and smack a bunch of people around, and then everybody's like, hey, cool. Oh, and Boss shows up. Hey, look, it's Cad Bane. It's like, but your story still sucks. So I don't give a shit how much
you know what though
throw at the screen.
I mean, but that's the thing is I feel like I don't feel like what you said was wrong. But I also haven't got Bosk. I haven't got Cad Bane. I got everything that's like what you said, but I haven't even got those things where I'm like, cool, thank you. Instead of it being Bosk in that bar just now, or Dengar, it was this by Crescent again.
But let's say you get that. Let's say they end the final episode. There's an hour-long episode. You get all that stuff. Damage already done. Horseshit story up to that point. You can't just all of a sudden save it because you're going to throw a bunch of member berries up in the screen and say, hey, look, we put all this cool stuff in the last episode. There's no story here. The writing is weird. The logic is weird. Nothing makes any sense. So to try to say we're going to save it by throwing a bunch of shit in that people are going to like, clap like a bunch of fucking circus seals to, is not going to save the show.
Yeah,
and I think they feel like it is.
Hey, you know what? I was a circus. I clapped actually on several parts in this show. I did. I honestly did.
Yeah.
I really
love the robots.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. I love the robots.
It's not all shit. There's some moments there, but man, it looks like, especially with this episode, this is one of those episodes where it's like, man, if somebody had just done another draft of this screenplay.
For me, it like took me aside and kind of explained a little bit more that I, didn't know about. The whole
probably should have been episode 3.
Probably, yeah. I agree.
And I agree with what
he takes her back to meet the Tuskens. Hey, come meet my Tusken family. They're all dead. The fuck? They're dead. Who did this? And Babe Fortuna. Yeah, he used my ship. He's using my ship. It sounds absurd the way I said it, but you see what I mean? Like, it just cuts a lot of chatter out, kind of gets right to the fucking point,
Well, to me, it's like, and I had this big problem with Solo, the movie. They try to do too much too fast. If they're going to do a Han Solo movie, there should have been one movie about him in the Imperial Academy and his younger life and going through the Imperial Academy.
Off the planet.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but the fan base would not have tolerated that. They'd be like, "Where was the Sabbat game? I want the fucking Sabbat game." And
they didn't really make the money they wanted to.
You're right. You're right, though. Yeah, you're right.
Well, they say that, but if you would have given them, again, I'll go back to if you give them a good product, they'll forgive you on that bullshit.
Yeah,
they want that stuff. They think they want that. But if you give them a good story and a good movie, they'll move on. But if you give them horseshit, they're going to say, well, where the fuck is this?
I don't think this is horseshit. I think it's boring is essentially what you're talking about. Boring's worse than horseshit. Good or bad. Like, The Room is it's bad. But you watch it, you're like, it's captivating. I'm not bored. But when you're just sitting around going like, man, I've seen this slow trucking on the back to tank for 3 episodes. Let me guess what happens. I'm going to cut to him, and then it's going to acid wash to his face, and then we're here. I pour my coffee right then. I'm pouring my coffee. I like slow burns. Better Call Saul is a slow burn compared to the manic energy, but the reason why and the tone of the show is because it's a different character.
Yeah.
The tone of I told you the tone of any movie, show, whatever, is based on the POV, the feelings and the emotion of the POV of the protagonist. That is the feeling you should get. So it's like, if you're setting up a crime syndicate, is healing in a back to tank and having flashbacks the what he's feeling, or is he like, man, it should be more like Breaking Bad energy, like not Better Call Saul energy, like going to a legal place and dealing with my crazy brother, you know what I mean? And kind of like working out emotional relationships. It should be like, I'm starting up a crime thing and shit gets real and I got to get ahead of it. Like, it should have a different vibe altogether.
Yeah. Well, you could have gone 2 ways. You could have gone with what the fans want, which is Boba Fett that whoops ass like he got in Mando, where he just goes around just wrecking shit. Or you can get a brand new unique take story on the character, which you got, but the problem is it's bad.
People love that. Jason, you came up with the suggestion that you almost wish the show had been like, a Fennec show or some other show where he's just he's there doing the wreck and shop thing behind him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would
like that, because everyone loved Boba and Amanda. I was like, man, they redeemed all this stuff, and then you get to the show, and I'm like, you're just undoing all that goodwill now. Like, congrats.
No, that part I definitely agree with you, because he's completely different from what we saw in The Mandalorian.
I think a lot of the what's going on here though is like there are very obvious weaknesses in the Filoni Favreau way of doing Star Wars. In the end, there really is. Like, you can cry your fucking little eyes out and love it for being Luke, but if you had never seen a Star Wars movie before and you just watched The Mandalorian and you get the ending where Luke shows up, that's not a good ending, actually. That's
horrible.
just a dude showing up in a black outfit with a lightsaber, and then he takes the kid away. And it's like all this other baggage was brought in that it didn't actually earn. And it was a way out on the season. And I'm not faulting it. It was very effective. It worked in the moment. It worked. And but as we're going on, I'm like, man, I really wish the other Star Wars shows, like the Obi-Wan show, had come out, or the other one, whatever it happened to be, because that would maybe make this stuff not feel so all close together, and the same flaws that keep coming up so close together in the same ways. And no, that wasn't a dig at Star Wars theory. That was just a dig at everybody like freaking the fuck out about when Luke Skywalker showed up. But once again, it was a hey, look over there, not a hey, there's like not a really good solution to this problem that we've created, and there's like no real way out of it that's actually super good. Oh, Luke Skywalker. Well, there we go. And then everybody's like, oh, fucking Luke, and it's not the Last Jedi. Which made me mad. And then everybody's, and once again, it worked. So I'm not knocking what worked, but we can, like, as adults, look at it and go, it's very clearly that this is covering up for something that's missing in the moment. And maybe it will be fine. Maybe we'll be able to get past it and move on, and it'll just be a really cool moment. But there is a kind of a problem with looking back all the time that we have, and nostalgia and Star Wars are so linked. It's really hard to undo that. But like Solo, I actually do think Solo is a pretty good movie. I actually do enjoy watching Solo, and I do enjoy it. But there is something that makes my skin slightly crawl about a moment that is being told that it's important. Like I'm told it's important when Han and Chewie meet in that part. Like it really and I'm like, oh, I don't know if you're earning this. I don't know if this movie, like if this would have ever happened, if this movie was organically just coming about. If this was the first time we ever saw these characters, this moment wouldn't go this way. So it's kind of, I don't know if gross is the right word, but it's just a little off. And it's always a little lazy. Off.
I would say if you look at the opening to Smokey and the Bandit, which is the tone that I always wanted for Solo, if you imagine if they played when he goes to meet, the Jerry Reed, right? If they had played it all serious and it's so important music playing, and he gets him up, and I need you, and he really I need you. You have to join me. You know what I mean? Snowman, you gotta be part of. I need you. You're like, fuck, man, this is really important. Versus just them being how they are with one another. And you're like, oh, I can't wait to go watch these dudes drive. I should not enjoy a movie in which they're just going to drive from Texarkana. Yeah, but there you go. Like,
yeah, they I feel like they don't think that their characters can stand on their own 2 feet. Like they need to like bring in Ahsoka and Luke to Mando, because their character, if it was just the Mando, they wouldn't get the positive buzz from that show, and they wouldn't have all the fans loving it as much, because they don't feel confident in creating their own, developing their own characters. So I feel like they need to bring it in now, because they're like, oh, what if they don't like this character? What if they don't like this? Well, let's just bring somebody else in, and then at least we'll give them something they like, and they'll shut the hell up. So it's like
Rebel season 2 is the worst offender of that very methodology. It's very apparent in that season.
So I feel like they're treating me like a child, where you give a baby a pacifier so they stop crying. It's like, oh, well, this isn't oh, hey, here's Luke. Shut the fuck up. It's like, come on.
Well, that's what diehards who love everything will tell you, James, when they're like, hey, man, it's there. They gave it to you. What are you doing? Yeah, when I say something's a TV show, I don't mean, yeah, I know it's a TV show. I'm saying when it feels like it's fucking Renegade shot out in Lakeside, California in 1994, it's a fucking problem, because it's a Star Wars TV show, which should be like setting the fucking bar for all the TV shows out there, not like catching up to Cowboy Bebop of all fucking things, or Battlestar Galactica from 20 years ago. Yeah.
Oh,
There's going to be a fan edit of all these that cuts this shit out and actually works. You know, like that's the weird thing. And I'm not the biggest fan of fan edits. Oh, just editing needs solves it. But there's
they're
so
almost
much
always
filler there's so much filler that you could cut these down to 2 episodes. You know, like about 60 minutes each probably, and be done with it.
Somebody
You know,
should use Airwolf footage in between.
now I got that theme song stuck in my head, Jesse. Thank you. Don't DMCA us for the Airwolf theme song.
Yeah, they like the episode, like it has moments that do pay off. Like, I mean, the like it's like I know like what the fan reaction is going to be. There's going to be some person who takes the screenshot of like Slave One versus the Sarlacc and go, "How could anybody not want? This is what I always wanted. This is the moment that it means that it should exist." And it's like, but it's cool, and it was cool. Like, it was fun. I did like it. The sonic charge going into the Sarlacc.
You mean like when people wheel out the Darth Maul Obi-Wan fight and tell me how the Phantom Menace is actually really, a genius film? Like, no, I mean, I love it the most out of those 3 films, but come on, like
Phantom Menace is looking like a fucking masterpiece to me at the moment.
That's
that's
true.
There's been a lot of fan logic with this show. I've seen a lot of people posting online the 1960s Vespas and saying, you just don't get it. It's an homage. And so my reply was that meme with Darth Vader walking with Big Bird on the Death Star, saying, "Well, you just don't get it. It's an homage. It's an homage to Jim Henson." It's like it's still fucking dumb. I don't care if it's an homage. It doesn't make it good. But okay, what's an homage?
So is Chewbacca doing a Tarzan yell? I don't think that they should keep doing that in the fucking films,
right?
Either,
Yeah. So the logic for fans sometimes is so like simplistic. Like, oh, if you can say it's an homage, then therefore you have an excuse. Your argument's invalid. Homage. What?
Yeah, you could.
I can't wait till Robert Pattinson's Batman climbs on the side of a building and goes up for 5 minutes in the movie and has a conversation with like Wanda Sykes. You know what I mean? To homage the 60s. It's an homage. Now I want to see Wanda Sykes argue with Batman, but that doesn't mean you have to go that route.
You know what I'm seeing, like doing the whole like mime thing out the side of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because you don't like
comments on her ass.
Because you don't like an homage doesn't mean that you don't get it. You can get it and not like it. It's completely fair. I so far do like it. I just don't think it goes far enough. I have like the opposite reaction, that if you're gonna play in with the eccentricities of Star Wars, fucking play with it. But don't just kind of like introduce it, waste some time showing us some hair. I feel like I'm looking at sometimes I feel like I'm looking at the fucking, what haircut do you want at Supercuts, as opposed to actually like doing anything with the fact that these are robot people.
Right.
I want to see all kinds of ridiculous shit. I want one of them to lift up his shirt and have 2 fucking gun barrels for nipples and start fucking machine gunning down people in the bar. That's what I want. And just do it.
Those are fembots.
Yeah, fembots. Let's do it. Let's do that. You know what I mean? Like
come for you, Mr. Powers.
These fets were made for walking. Oh, that's what they do. They really do that. That's what they're gonna walk from Jabba's palace to Masa.
Yeah.
At least this time they showed those dudes get. Okay, so when those dudes are all walking away from the palace, I'm like, don't fucking tell me they're all walking. You know what I mean? You can't fucking do it, guys. And then you see that shot where they're in their speeders, and I'm like, I bet you that was a pickup, like the speeder thing, like because. Why would they not? They have a whole dungeon. They can just open it up and let everyone wheel their ships in to keep them safe. Why would they leave? It's a nomadic desert. I don't understand why they're parking their.
Well, Robert, what you have to understand is when you watch Rogue One, you'll notice that Krennic, he doesn't land at the farm. He lands down the street, because what you need to understand is that they're in space, and in space, your bones get very brittle, and so you need the extra exercise in gravity. And so walking is very valued in the Star Wars universe, Rob.
Especially
fuck walking. All right, like that's
actually,
what golf carts are made for. Hey, hold on. If I wanted Luke to walk, from Baruz to Mos Eisley, we could have done that. We had the technology for actors to walk in 1977.
Wasn't supposed to walk.
I don't know if you're aware of walking. If that was
Lucas's original name for him was Luke Actual Walker.
It's not called Luke. It's called Luke. Not called Luke Landwalker. It's called Luke Skywalker, because you get in a fucking car and you fly. But like this is the dumbest fucking thing ever. I actually had some. Oh, so Saul Guerrera, right, is another half robot dude. Right? No one goes around. This just betrays Star Wars. I'm not knocking on you for that
Saul
line. I get you're all
is played as
passionate.
a villain, though.
I thought
He's not a good guy.
Yeah, these are all biker. These biker gangs. The tone is wrong, but to do it is not to say it betrays.
Rob,
and he's not played as a villain.
James is not giving up on those kids. Okay, those kids are gonna get on the straight and narrow, and they're gonna make something of themselves. If James has anything to say about it, he's not
played as a villain in Catalyst by any measure. By the way,
21
no, because he's not a cyborg yet. That comes later.
You don't know that. He could have a cyborg dick, dude. They did not specifically say he doesn't have one.
I mean,
look, if you're gonna go cyborg, the first thing I'm gonna do is endow myself because I got a little dick.
Some of us don't have that problem, but
I'm gonna go peacemaker. Like a.
I do really want the Falcor Never-Ending Story edit with that moment though, because it definitely needs that fucking luck dragon laughing and that music playing. It's ready.
Can you just put that music over it? And can we run that?
But we need Falcor going. Oh!
Yeah. It should be the bantha. It should be right in the bantha, right? Like.
So one thing I wanted to hit on to that Andrew's hitting on is stylistically the Vespa speeders do fit the Star Wars aesthetic. They just don't logically fit into what we know, the used universe, blah blah blah. Well, that was my whole thing was I was justifying it by these people being off world and very new to the place, and maybe they're just stuck there this week. But then we get there some months back or wherever, however time it's been, and they're still fucking there, and it's like, oh well, okay, you fucked that up. You just fucked that.
Well, yeah, I think Rob hit it on last week when he was talking about the design. They just needed like something, because when I rewatched it, it's like, yeah, there's just that design aesthetic just doesn't lend itself to the action because they're flat bottom. It's like a giant iron that they're riding on. If they had done like
2000,
if they wanted to do an homage, they should have done like the bikers that ride like the crotch rockets or something like that. Made it something
Earthworm Jim, my friend.
Cool. Yeah,
Earthworm Jim, dude, the little pocket rocket.
There you go.
You can have the Vespa tops, but if it's on top of a rocket, it'll always look cooler than a flat. The flat bottom works for tanks, like the Trade Federation tank, because they move slowly.
Rob's talking about tops and bottoms. That's all I heard.
I got Jason in the mood.
This show is everything. That was on my bingo card: robot dicks and tops and bottoms. So I'm winning right now.
I can't see his other hands.
Yeah.
If that isn't Hamill as the voice of that droid, though, they did a good job of emulating.
It was before, so I would imagine it was again. But yeah,
overlooked. But
I will say, Edzo, Star Wars is not about Vespas. At the same time, I think when you actually just watch the episodes, the amount of attention and outrage and stuff that they've generated is way more than the importance of them and to the ability of their ability to detract from the quality. It is a little bit overblown, Here's the missed opportunity.
Here's the missed opportunity with this, right? Cybernetically enhanced kids. Now, instead of pod racing, they're doing like Kawasaki bikes. And they're using the cybernetically enhanced parts because racing now every human can be a fucking pod racer. You know what I mean? If you're jacked up with cyber shit. Because you're going to need that to race at 3,000 miles an hour across different planets. So like, there's the thing they could have done, versus biker gangs. Like, no, it's just a pod. These are like Kawasaki biker gangs, like racing gangs that go on these the new version of pod racing. Because that solves what Mos Espa is. It solves why they're all there, because that's where, that used to be the pod racing capital. Now it's, pod bikes or whatever they're going to call them, pod Vespas, Vespa racers or whatever. And it solves why they have the cybernetically enhanced things, because in order to do that shit with the Force, it was primarily a thing for aliens, but humans can do it now if they're all tricked out, So like all those things solve, and it's the episode 1 callback, which they're kind of going for anyway with some of that stuff. So like, it's just when you're like, these are criminal bikers, you're like, yeah, sure they are, kid. All right, Biff's gang,
There's nothing intimidating about them. I mean, it's supposed to be Boba's crew, and it's like, really? The baddest bounty hunter of the galaxy is hanging out with a bunch of, teenagers.
Well, if it ends up that he has like all these different things, and those are just interesting looking people with a bunch of like aliens and stuff in there in the end, then it's like cool if we see like that form up. But if he does just hire the robot kids,
but they brought him into the foreground, and that was the first place he went. It's not like he got Bosk and IG-88, and then hey, there's some kids. Let's drag them along too. It's like I need some muscle. There's some kids on a scooter.
I was tiptoeing around the gang in the last show because they were, I don't know, didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
And especially like I'm not familiar with that actress that everyone is gushing over, but didn't do it for me. But
Sophie something.
Yeah.
Where were they this episode?
They weren't hired yet.
But but in the modern time, they weren't. Wait, so when he gets out the back tank and she says you're healed, they're not.
Yeah, it's a night episode, so it's past their curfew. They got to be in by 5.
They're all.
You can't introduce the gang and then be like. I just feel like I wonder if this episode, the editing of the show is also like. So for me, the biggest strike is the writing. The second is the editing, because I'm like, or like, is this a line producer problem? Like, why would you introduce a whole gang and then when you get to his modern thing, they should just be standing. They should be there.
Just around.
Especially if he's going to have all those fucking dudes at dinner, he should be their muscle right behind him. Yeah. Like, why should we pay you? Well, because if you don't, my fucking cyber kids will fucking cut. You know what I mean? Just mince you up. Like,
sorry, Rob. I don't mean to cut you off. I just got a text from Jon Favreau, and he said, James is tutoring them to get their GEDs at night. That's why he didn't give up on them. He believes in them.
Yeah.
So
you want to teach them their times tables?
I'm part of the Scare Straight program. They want to end up like me.
I don't know, but are we ever really going to be completely satisfied? No. None of us.
Yeah.
Will. None of us will.
Yeah, I think.
And like
Phantom is 10 out of 10 for me. So I mean, I'm easy to please.
Wow.
You're the least easiest person to please. What are you talking about? You've hated every fucking thing we've ever talked about, James.
I will defend Attack of the Clones on this show. Don't make me do it, but I will.
I could say, hey, Last Jedi is hit or miss for me, but I still think Ryan was the person to go with the third film. Like, just take it there. But like, yeah, no, I look here overall though, Max, like the consensus is like, if people want to die on a hill defending a Star Wars, then they can go ahead and do it. Like, I just feel this will be a disposable thing that we'll forget about after. We'll forget about a lot of this after Obi-Wan, Andor, and Mando 3. Like, and it shouldn't. It should be that fucking cool little thing you didn't think was gonna be like the raid. I just think if this had been like a balls to the wall action fucking fest. We could all come over here and go, man, wish there was more story, but that was amazing to watch. I'd rather that than I don't get the story and I'm bored. Like,
no, I get I completely understand. And I know that I know that there's gonna be different opinion in even Obi-Wan and or
Isn't Kanji Club all made up of the best Chinese martial artists in cinema?
This is a different. It really is a different show, and I'm not going to disagree with anybody.
Yeah, let me defend this as best I can. I can say that a lot of times we don't know. Like a perfect example, I'll bring up the guy that directed Shazam, and I forget his name now, Dave something.
Zachary Levi.
No, not the actor. The director. And he's a really cool guy. You should listen to some of his stuff that he does about like filmmaking. And he talked about like, here's the reality of being a director. So there's a scene in Shazam where the kids are at the house and someone's like, hey, they've got to have this wardrobe on for the rest of the movie. So he's like, okay, well, shit, we didn't think about that. So now you got kids wearing like winter coats indoors. And he's like, well, he's like, well, too late in the process. So we caught it too late. So it's going to happen. And then it's like, okay, he has the shots planned out for the day. And, one of the actresses, one of the little girls, she can't make it to set today. Oh, well, we got to shoot something. So we'll make an excuse. She's inside tying her shoes and she's not outside with everybody else. So we change everything around. Yeah, David Sandberg. Thank you, Mr. Andrew Gillen. So he plans this whole thing of like, okay, when she comes on, we can do a quick, shots of her tying her shoes and explain it. So then the day comes when she is on set and they gave her moon boots and she has no shoelaces. And so everything he planned for that also fucking out the window. So it's like you have to constantly keep like running into these speed bumps. And as a director, you have to think on your toes to like fix shit. We have no idea what's going on behind the scenes in terms of this actor didn't show up this day. Maybe someone tested positive for COVID and they couldn't be available that day. And so who the hell knows what kind of weird nonsense. And unfortunately, Disney will never, they will fucking send an assassin out to kill us all.
Tamura Morrison, he really got into character and he shaved his eyebrows. He's like, I really want to commit.
So is it
well,
Star Wars they
James,
do
that's
this
why I
with,
fucking
though?
invented Photoshop. All right, so they can put them in the background now. You can just cut them out. They don't have to fucking move. They can just sit back there. I created whole shots with Ben. With I don't know if you're aware of a character I created called Rick Oley. He's very important, and he the unsung hero of the prequel era. Actually, without Rick Oley, you would not
don't take it too far, man. Don't start dissing Rick Oley, man.
I'm not.
The whole planet's made of sand.
Together.
And we created shots that we didn't actually, could never have gone back. We didn't have the technology to go back or the funds. I mean, we're Star Wars, but
Well,
they
didn't have the technology to replace Mace Windu in that shot in Phantom Menace. So shit, I don't know. I was like,
we couldn't do it.
Some random bald dude and stick him back there. Here, get a robe. Cool, you're Mace Windu.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't want to tell people that's Gary Kurtz, but he's in blackface. It's not. I'm not proud of that.
No. Right.
Sorry, it was bad. I apologize for that. It's insensitive. Some stupid shit they would have done in the early 2000s, though, and you all know it. Like,
well, hey, why not?
We're more evolved now.
Doubt it. Yeah. So I mean, I guess we're kind of hitting the end of this thing, and like I said, I hope I wake up tomorrow, watch it again, and I'm like, boy, was I just too hard on this thing, because then maybe that's what it will end up being. But my takeaway, or at least my final verdict, is my first viewing of it didn't do very much for me. It had high moments, I liked when they fought the Sarlacc pit with the bomb. I liked when he gunned down all of those dudes, like the little robot droid, that moment. But I almost feel like the EB-99 and the service droid in the same shot, it exemplifies everything about it. It's like I like both of those things together. I don't know, the alchemy, it doesn't feel right. It's like the recipe is off. All of the elements of the cake are good, but the recipe, I'm not sure if it's my recipe at the moment, and I think Mando has a lot of Mandalorian has a lot of leeway with the fact that it has freedom. It had a lot more freedoms and things to explore than this, which is very tied down to things. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why it's feeling a little bit claustrophobic to me at the moment. So I think we just hit that point in the show where the next three that those are the three that they keep pimping out, is where it's going to go on to do what it's supposed to do, maybe. And so I'm actually hoping the show gets elevated from here on out. And maybe it'll all feel worth it. But right now, if the next episodes are around the same intensity and pitch and everything, and it doesn't truly become more dynamic, if this isn't like sort of a low point, then I'm gonna just find it to be maybe the most disappointing Star Wars thing to have happened since Disney bought it, in terms of live action.
That's fair.
Like the last episode, the last chapter, when I watched it a second time, it was different to me. So
yeah,
I liked it better. I wasn't. I'm still not shitting on the Vespa, bikers or whatever.
Yeah.
The characters, they just questionable more so when I say they didn't do it for me. It's just like, they were hyped up to be something that I didn't expect, that I still don't. They could be later on, whatever. But I did enjoy the show better the second time around. This one, I didn't have any problems with it. It was fun for me.
Yeah.
And I liked to learn about how, the Boba put Fennec together and whatever. I liked seeing that. It filled in gaps. Could it have been better, condensing it in other episodes? Maybe, but this is what we got, so that's why I'm not dissecting the shit out of it personally. But
and I'm sorry, Jeff. Like, I actually really want to cheerlead for these things. Like, I'm on its side. It just, when it doesn't hit for me, it doesn't hit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be as critical. Sorry, go ahead.
I just feel bad for Fennec.
Why? Because she's got robo-guts?
Robo-guts, but then I would imagine standing next to her, she's probably pretty ripe.
She's probably what?
She's probably pretty ripe smelling because, I mean, hey, Boba's been in the back of the tank over and over again, and we never get to see. She's in the same outfit at all times.
Oh,
you don't get to see her relax. So it's like, what? She's got to be stuck in that same outfit.
Well, hopefully she washed her.
And she's smelly.
in season 2, are they going to do that really corny thing where they're like, "Uh-oh, she had to put a fancy dress on, fish out of water"? I was kidding.
Right. Yeah, she's been wearing that same episode since Bad Batch, or same outfit. So yeah, it's been decades.
she's a bit of a Steve Jobs. She just goes in and puts it on, doesn't want to think about it.
That would be an awesome shot.
One outfit.
Show her closet. It's got the same outfit over and over and over. Yeah, no, I mean, at this point, if this was the first episode, I'd be like, all right, we're on the 4th episode. So I'm sorry, I'm going to shit all over it, even if it's okay at this point, because you're 4 episodes in, and now I have earned the right to shit on your show. Yeah. You had 4 episodes to tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be hypercritical now. And
this roller coaster ride better be good.
Yeah.
I think the thing I've said from the beginning was this is coasting on the fact that it says Star Wars. If this was just a science fiction show, it would be out there. Someone would say it's kind of interesting, but there'd be no buzz. I mean, Altered Carbon kind of would get more buzz than this in that sense.
Yeah,
so
they were going to go with The Walking Fett, but it didn't test well. So
now I want The Walking Fett, where he's a zombie roaming in the sands of Tatooine. By the way he says Tatooine, I'm like, this whole fucking time, no one's ever said it that cool, right? Like, he does. He's got a good way of wording things that I did not expect. That I enjoyed, but yeah, I'm with all you on that. Like, it's because it says it's Star Wars. Like, when people tell me, "Have you read the Star Wars comic?" I'm like, "Yeah, I fell asleep."
I just wanted
we don't read comics. I have 18 fucking volumes of Delicious in Dungeon. Yeah, I read comics. Just make it entertaining.
Sorry.
Yeah, nerd.
Yeah. That was the best thing that ever happened to me in college. Is I was forced to read good books, and that's when I stopped reading Star Wars books, because I was like, "Oh my god, this is great! Why the fuck did I read these 20 other horseshit novels? I could have been reading something decent." Hey, man, so that was like an eye opener for me. It's like, man, I got to raise my standards.
I want my Koran horn still.
Every time I hear that, I just think of that fucking cornucopia thing that's on the Thanksgiving table. I don't know what you call that, but it sounds like a corn horn. That thing on Thanksgiving with all the shit.
Cornucopia, I think.
Cornucopia, yeah. That's a fucking corn horn to me.
Cornhole.
It's just the stupidest fucking name I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Sun planets, that's legal.
I'm corn horny right now. I'll tell you that much. But yeah,
All in there. I miss Heidi.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool if the Vespa gang turns out they have they're all on spice. And Boba's beating the shit out of him because you don't do spice in his gang. He seems to not like it. And
it'd be funny if when
You're out of here.
He's out there like just picking for lizards because he's got a lizard habit, like homeboy just said in the chat. You know,
Cornhole,
these
you know.
lizards, man.
They
Can't get enough of them.
Retreat.
Filoni's working on the after-school special with the Vespa gang.
I really let go of my ego when I eat the Liz.
So okay, Jason, have you heard that there's going to be a season 2 or?
I believe there is. I don't know if that's official, but I believe there is a season 2 of the show coming, and I think that's probably why it's so slow in certain ways, because they're just like, oh, this is the season where we do this shit. I'm just guessing though.
It's sad to think they added an episode where they could have literally cut out how much time from what we've seen so far.
No, and to be clear, I wasn't saying that they added an episode, just that it was supposed to be 6, and then it ended up being 7. So I don't. That was what I had heard.
Yeah, maybe that happened in the writing. Who knows? But yeah, I guess it's not. That's fair to say. We don't really know when
I don't know when. I don't know when that happened either.
I'd like to know when they lock final edit on these things. Like, when did they say this is done?
See, I will say
the day before, man.
Like Jeff, if Godfather was a series, I could watch 5 episodes of what's his name, Michael, just sitting in the wedding, telling his girlfriend about the people. and this doesn't have that level of intrigue for me at the moment.
Now, Jason, I gave you a little yuzum.
That was nice. That was good. Singing like a yuzum was pretty good.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Give me credit. You know, who else gonna give you a yuzum? Who else gonna give you a yuzum?
No,
come on.
Nobody can scream like the wasm.
Well, anybody else have any?
James wouldn't. He'd be like, "No,
comments?
man, them are yuzum berries. You know, we ain't doing yuzum berries."
It's almost 5 a.m. here.
Better.
That's right.
On the way down.
All right, then we're gonna call it a show. Everyone had their chance, and they all took it at the same time. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us tonight. And sorry to be a Debbie Downer. Hopefully, I watch it in the morning and I feel differently. I'll be back on tomorrow around 11, maybe a little bit later. I might need to sleep in. I'm not sure, but I'll definitely be on, and I'll give a reevaluation on my second watch and see if I feel the same. If any of you guys are around, you're all welcome to come back and join me.
The show had 9 lives, and it just spent them all.
But yeah, and thanks to everyone who supports the show on Patreon and all that jazz, or as a channel member. I do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And get some sleep, you filthy animals. You guys are crazy, all of you.
It's not about spaceships.